What's up guys, this is Oscar SZT from Sullivan Trail Auto, and in today's video we're going to be reviewing the 250cc Apollo dirt bike. Now I recently just bought this dirt bike for $200 because I had a friend that wanted to get rid of it. This is a 2010 model. On Amazon you can buy these for around $800 for a 2020 model. My favorite thing about it is how easy the parts are to find. So it is a Chinese dirt bike. If you look here, there's a brand new fuel filter that I just put in because fuel wasn't going into the carburetor as it should. So I replaced the lines and the filter, and now fuel is coming in nicely, tuned it up a bit. And yeah, this dirt bike is a manual 4-speed 125cc dirt bike. It is really small for me because I am a big guy. I am 6'1", but this dirt bike would be good for anyone that's around the height of 5'6" to 5'8". For me, something more like a 450 or 750cc would work, but right now I have this 125cc. Now it came with nice tires. I'm not sure if these were the tires that came stock with them, but they are relatively cheap tires. These are Maxxis off-roading tires, and they have been going through with me real nicely. Now Maxxis is my favorite tire brand. I don't know what it is about it. I just really like the brand. I really like their tires. Because look how the threads are on them. I've been riding this and abusing it, and that thread is beautiful. Next on, we're going to go to the engine. As I said, it's a 125cc engine. It is made in China. It is a relatively cheap engine. I think you can find replacements for this engine for $200. Now, the engine works perfectly fine. My main problem with this motorcycle is the carburetor. I will go around to the other side and show you guys the carburetor. If you look here, there's nothing really too wrong with it. As the camera will focus in, other than the throttle cable being very hard to install, but I'm sure throttle cables are always hard to install, even on my scooter. This carburetor is a bit broken. The idle jet is clogged up on it, so I have to rebuild it. But I just rebuilt it because I had a fuel leak, and it only runs when choke is turned off. You can turn on choke and stuff, but mine only runs when choke is turned on. Now I did order a new carburetor because I did not feel like ordering new jets, and I thought it would just be a better deal to just order a new carburetor. And I also ordered a new air filter. This is the air filter that has been on the bike since it was bought in 2010 by the original owner, and it's a pretty cool air filter. It works fine. The seal on the rubber broke, so I ordered a new one, a K&M air filter. I'm gonna have to drill a hole in my K&M air filter so I can put this exhaust hose into the air filter. The transmission on it is very nice, but once you get into the higher RPMs, the whole dirt bike starts to shake. I recommend riding it slowly. It shifts up smoothly all the way to 4th, but once you're going max speed in 4th gear, the front end starts to vibrate. I do not know what that is all about, but when I'm riding it on the trail around my area, it rides very nicely. The seat is really comfortable, but since I'm a bigger guy, I'm way too big for this bike, but it still is a comfortable seat even for me. It just, when you press down on it, it presses down too hard. There's not enough cushioning for a heavier guy like me. Now onto the fuel tank. The fuel tank is real good. I only ran out of fuel on this once because that was my first ride and I forgot to fill it up. But I've been riding it maybe like 10 miles today, maybe less than 10, 8. It's gotta be a bit hard to unlock with one hand. I got it. It is still mostly full. It's like 4/5 of the way full, and I've been riding it all day today, just testing out new parts and rebuilding it. So I really like the fuel tank, but when I first rode it, I was very low on fuel because the fuel tank looked a lot bigger on the outside than it is on the inside. But now that I fully filled it up all the way, the fuel tank is not bad. But if you were to buy this dirt bike, I would recommend upgrading your fuel filter. The fuel filter I had on this dirt bike was very bad. It was Chinese, like squishy and plastic. It was like leaking, and it just shot out gas randomly. And I would also recommend getting new gas lines. These are Goodyear gas lines, I believe I bought. I don't remember exactly what brand they are, but these are real good gas lines. You can see I use zip ties to tie them off because I didn't have hose clamps for this exact gas line. But yeah, if you were to buy this dirt bike, I would recommend upgrading to the Ape Racing fuel filters. They're only $7 on Amazon and you get 2 of them. It is a very good deal. And definitely I will be putting more of these on my next dirt bike. The chain is very nice. It delivers power instantly to the rear tire. There's an idle roller right here for the chain to roll on so it doesn't get too loose or too tight. And I have had no problems with this chain. None of it being loose, none of it needing to be adjusted or anything. I got the dirt bike and it was a very nice chain from the start. Like I said, it's not a good carburetor, but this isn't the stock carburetor that came with the dirt bike, so I'm sure that the stock one was better, but not as fast, and that's why this carburetor is new. So I'd recommend spending $50 and buying a nice carburetor. Well, for $50, you can't really get a nice carburetor, but you could get a nice Chinese knockoff carburetor. But if you want to go all the way out and get a $350 carburetor for this, go all out. I'm thinking of getting a decent carburetor. I forgot what the exact brand was called, but they were around like $100, and it was a very nice carburetor. But this one I had to rebuild like 3 times, so avoid buying cheap carburetors on Amazon. I wouldn't really recommend it too much. Look into the carburetor before you buy it. Now, I'm not sure if this dirt bike ruins the oil in it, but when I got it, the oil was darker than the dirt bike itself, and I just replaced it today. After replacing the oil, it ran so smooth that it just felt like a whole new dirt bike. Also, I had to replace the spark plug because there was oil deposits on it, and it was just no good. Now, on to the next subject is the throttle cable. I had to replace the throttle cable because it snapped right here, and then the throttle would just go off randomly, like before even pulling it would just go all full throttle. So I replaced the throttle cable. This is a cheap Chinese throttle cable. I paid $14 for it, and it came with the housing. This isn't the housing that's on, or that came with it, but this is the housing from the stock dirt bike. And these are also the grips from the stock dirt bike. Now, I would recommend getting, or at least for my trail, because my trail is very woody. That's the dirt bike trail that goes down. There's a lot of twigs that come hit you, so I recommend spending $40 and getting nice hand grips. Also, I'm probably gonna get new grips for my dirt bike because these have come loose, as you can see, and I just like getting new grips and customizing my bike as much. Now, I'm not sure if this is a problem just because the dirt bike is very old, or just because that's how it is on this specific dirt bike. But yeah, I would definitely recommend replacing your hand grips and getting ones that you actually like. Try out your friend's dirt bike, go to a dealership, see what grips they have, what grips you like to feel. Now these, I like grips that like have a lot of stuff to hold on to, so these grips are not alright for me. But on durability, this is a very nice dirt bike. I have dropped it around 6 times when I first got it and first rode it. The only thing that happened to me was that my brake lever snapped right here, but these are like $7, at least this one. This is a very cheap one. Now, what I would recommend you guys to do is to take off your levers right here, wrap it in waterproof tape so it slides. Just put in like waterproof tape in there and tighten it hard on the waterproof tape so it's loose enough so when it falls it doesn't break, but it's tight enough so when you're using it, it doesn't move around, because this is on real tight, and that's the reason it snapped when I dropped it. The exhaust is very nice. It's starting to backfire now that I have a new fuel filter on it, but I do have to tune it for the new filter. I have not tuned it yet because I'm waiting to get a new K&M air filter, like I said. My one problem I had with this exhaust was that the muffler came off of the pipe when I was riding, but that's because I dropped it really hard. But the stock exhaust on this dirt bike is very nice. It sounds really nice, and the only one I would like to upgrade to is probably a Yoshimura exhaust. But I would keep the exhaust pipe stock. There's nothing wrong with these, except on this dirt bike, this piece of metal right here that covers the exhaust from your foot gets very hot, or not very hot, very loose and very hot. And I'm gonna have to get some WD-40 to spray it so I can tighten it, because it is very loose. You should put some lock nuts on there to tighten it. On to the next thing about this dirt bike is that this brake lever is very hard to find on your foot. Like, you're right here and it just barely touches the edge of your foot. So I would recommend getting a new brake lever that extends a bit further so that it's right under your foot instead of to the left of your foot where you could just like barely hit it, because my foot slips off sometimes when I'm using it. And onto the brakes. The brakes are amazing on this dirt bike. I would be going full speed. If I press this brake, I would flip, because these brakes are very strong for a Chinese dirt bike. Like, these brakes don't even have an official brand name to them, but they are still very strong. So you don't really have to look into new brakes when buying this specific dirt bike. I'm pretty sure this is the same as the Teo Teo dirt bike. This is an Apollo. There's Apollo and Teo Teo are like the top Chinese dirt bike and ATV brands, and they are very cheap on Amazon. So these are very nice starter bikes. If you have a little kid or you want to learn how to ride a dirt bike yourself that's manual, I would 100% recommend starting off with a Teo or an Apollo dirt bike. I did not know how to ride a manual dirt bike at all, and now I'm getting into the groove of it. Soon I'm going to be buying a nice big ATV that's manual, and this will definitely help me learn manual for that ATV. For any beginner dirt bikers out there, I would definitely recommend this bike. For the low price of $800, it comes with the title and the dirt bike itself, an instruction manual. And this specific dirt bike came with a air foam spray for your filter that I like to use whenever the dirt bike doesn't want to start up. I use it and it starts up instantly, but most of the time the dirt bike does start up very nicely. So my only complaint with this dirt bike is that one brake lever and the carburetor. Everything else on this dirt bike is magnificent. 100% recommend for any beginner riders out there or any young riders that want to get into dirt biking. Link for this dirt bike will be in the description of the video. Make sure you go check it out. And while you're at it, I hope you guys liked that video. So please, if you did, leave a like down below. Hit the notification bell and the subscription button, not in that order obviously. And share it with your friends if they are looking to get into dirt bikes. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.